We have people do all kinds of crazy things to get customers taken care of. And I know a lady was in the checkout line at Walmart and her debit card wouldn't work one day. And a lady that runs our debit card department got the cash out of her account for her with the customer's permission, of course, and drove that to Walmart and delivered it to the customer. I mean, we just do whatever it takes to get the customer taken care of. And I think that's unique in today's banking environment.
Mayor, with that, I would jump to the agenda if you'd like.
Sure.
All right, item 1, minutes.
Let me ask you a quick question. What was that break? Was it?
That break was about right here.
Okay. I knew it was just
Right
beyond
above the
one of those.
136 marker.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Point of reference.
On the minutes, please note that those are 2 sets of minutes. September 9th being your hearing, September 13th being last Tuesday, regular meeting. Chris, you want to come on up? Item 2, ordinance 7297, changing the zoning to add a specific use permit, placement of a type B manufactured home over Southeast 6th and Vernon Street. Chris, have we had any additional questions, comments, objections from any of the neighbors?
No, everything's been the same since it was recommended for approval by the zoning commission.
And would note that's a neighborhood. There are several manufactured homes there now.
Chris, why don't you sit down and join us here? You never know.
Well, I drove by it every day.
Extensive discussion going on.
It could happen.
No, there will be, because I have questions. I drove by there today, and obviously it's one of our aged neighborhoods where we start allowing mobile or manufactured homes, and there are a couple in that area there. Mostly they're aged homes that are in, some of them in a desperate state of disrepair, and there are also some homes that have already bricked in their outward fronts and so forth. My question is, besides the north part of Amarillo, the east part of Amarillo, and the southeast part of Amarillo, where else do we allow people to just put manufactured home up in on residential areas?
Well, manufactured homes are allowed, and it's dependent on the zoning district. We have 3 different types depending on the age of the manufactured home. Brand new double wide is allowed in any district within Amarillo.
With a specific use permit?
Well, no, a brand new double wide is allowed in residential districts outright. It's an outright allowed use.
Okay.
Anything older than a brand new double wide or a brand new single wide, it has to go through the SUP process. And it's dependent on, like you said, development of the area. There are other ones in the area or not.
Now, there are neighborhoods that have deed restrictions.
Right.
That would prohibit that.
Well, my concern is that, if they're an owner-occupied manufactured home, they're probably going to take care of it. What I see in Southeast Amarillo particularly are just I don't even want to call them mobile homes, they're just pieces of trash. And they keep renting these things out, and they look horrible, and they bring down the values in that neighborhood for people that actually have decent housing. So when are we going to, I know that they're allowed to, I understand that, but somehow we have to do something so that our neighborhoods don't look like ghettos with mobile homes. I mean, I drive by them every day over there on 23rd and 22nd Street. And all you have to do is go through the poorer neighborhoods, and that's what you see, and they're predominantly on the east side of town. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I just think that we need to look at it holistically and see how we can make, especially landlords, take care of those properties, because the renters aren't. I mean, they don't have any vested interest in doing so, just like they don't in San Jacinto or anyplace else. That's it.
In that sense, they're not wholly different from other rental property. It's always dependent, as you know, on the landlord keeping it up. And they do provide affordable housing for many people in our community. But the mobile homes, the key is enforcing against the landlords to keep up property, whether it's a mobile home or whether it's a side built house. Would be one thought.
Well, anything that would help the neighborhoods look better than they do now. I mean, I think that would be obviously for people that still have regular homes that they don't take care of that are still rent properties. that they don't take care of, and then, it just looks awful.
And within the specific use process, we do look at the home that is proposed in relation to other homes in the area. If it does gain approval here at this process, they still have to go to building safety and obtain a permit, and the building safety inspects the home for livability issues. So there are a few steps to try and match up as best we can the proposed home with others in the area.
Now, this particular piece of property is right on that corner. It's a narrow lot, and there's a building right behind it, isn't it, right on the alley? And it's got a tree there, and it has a bunch of debris inside that fenced-in part of it. So I hope they can clean it up and put it in there so that it'll look good. But anyway.
Of course, Julia, this is like so many of our ordinances. The thought going in and the effort going in is good. But then once the permit is issued and once they're allowed to put it there, we kind of lose control until it's extremely bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like our green ordinance for new construction for commercial properties. It's mandated that there be an X percentage of property with grass, with
in the front.
greens. And then they do, and we give an occupancy permit, and then they don't water it. And it dies, it looks like hell.
So that one needs to be changed too, so they can put that
There you
pink
go.
stuff on there. And they don't have to water it.
Well, there's quite a few have gone in lately that are Xeriscape styles,
Mhm.
and they've been done well. It's going to be interesting to see how they hold up. I think they would have certainly lower water use, but some lower maintenance if they'll just keep the debris and the trash from the roadway out. But a good example of one that did that very recently is Brown, Pontiac, or Georgia. Have you been by and seen them? If that grows in and they keep it up, I think that's going to look pretty neat.
Well, is it I talked to you about San Jacinto area, and it's kind of a vicious circle because landlords, what I call slumlords, don't keep those properties up, and then, drug dealers move in and pay a month's rent and then move out and those kind of things. And so it's crime and dilapidated property, and then feral cats, breed there. So there's lots of different problems that come with that. Would that be code enforcement?
To some extent, yes, and probably based on the current structure we have, current ordinances that we have, diligent code enforcement is our best deal. When you look at the rental neighborhoods, they're kind of tiered out, and some of the stuff that you're referring to are neighborhoods that have gone from owner-occupied to primary renters to assisted rent to now, in some cases, properties that don't qualify even to be on like the HUD Section 8 program and things like that. And those landlords then do get into the mode of renting by the week, by the month, every other month, 2 tenants in a month. We can often tell when there's been a move out, voluntary or otherwise, about what's sitting in the alley. They have a tenant and they make that tenant leave, they'll often take everything left and just throw it out in the alley. We have similar to big knuckle booms, to get it out. There are cities that have explored the possibility of rental maintenance standards. I don't think it's a silver bullet. I think it carries with it in and of itself a pretty intense discussion that we should probably have it at some point. But those would be where you would, by ordinance, by code, prescribe certain standards under which a rental property was maintained both outside and inside. And I would say that for as many rental properties as we have in the city, we certainly do have some problem ones. It's not the majority of them, but we do have them. This particular neighborhood, I think Lenny is very correct. I think that old refinery site sitting up there is not any kind of a benefit to that neighborhood. It makes it tough to get investment in that neighborhood. For the moment, just continued and possibly increased code enforcement is really probably the best tool that we have.
Just for clarification, so for example, let's take Belmont, for example. In an empty lot in Belmont, you can put a double wide trailer.
Brand new one.
The city ordinance
And most
allows
of you are buying old ones, used ones.
The ordinance would allow it. I would venture, though, that the deed restrictions.
They don't do that. They
There
don't.
aren't
would
any
not.
restrictions in Belmont.
Are there no deed restrictions in Belmar? There are in Puckett?
There's not
Well,
any
there
real
are
city.
Puckett, right?
Yeah, but I think Puckett was probably one of the first that had to do
Is that, yeah, Puckett's the deed restriction with the wood roofs. It's kind of a flashpoint.
The mobile home ordinance was comprehensively amended about '05, I want to guess.
It was after I came on in '05.
Okay, we can go back and look. Yeah.
And you cannot outright prohibit them by federal law.
It's just a question of economics when you figure the cost of that lot and the value of that double wide. It's illogical really rather than home like that.
Right, in a lot of the fully developed neighborhoods, unless there's a tragedy like a fire, you're not going to find an empty lot.
But in the older neighborhoods, where we've gone in and done demolition clearance, you'll find several lots that will, become available for sale.
You'll see
Well,
it a lot.
there's even more on the finance side of it and so forth, but we won't get into that because that's not the city's purview.
Okay.
Okay,
Just good
thank you, Chris.
discussion.
You're just doing your job, I understand, but we have to bring this up for discussion.
Well, the
And
next,
before we leave that, if you as a commissioner feel this is not an appropriate location, then by all means, you should vote your conscience.
Well,
You have
there
an
are,
option to turn down this special. That's why they have to come to you to ask, is this
Sure.
okay to place it here in this part of our city?
yeah, no, and that's, there are some other manufactured homes there in that neighborhood already, so it's not like this is the first one in
Just
that
want to make sure
neighborhood.
you were aware you do have
Yeah.
an option always.
Thank you for reminding me.
okay, the next item is also a rezoning. This is down the corner of Colford and the South Loop for Hollywood. This is zoning a 13-acre tract for multi-family. This is the development now that needs to be known as Redstone. Chris, any changes on this one? As of today, there's nothing out there.
No, there's been no changes since.
So all this represents just going further and further south, huh?
This is right across from Hollywood, basically, from where one of our fire station locations is going.
Just south of it.
Right.
Okay. Item number 4, second and final to adopt the city budget. Item 5, second and final to adopt the tax rate. These are both action items. And on item 6, the state of Texas is allowing you then to vote again to say that you did vote to adopt the tax rate.
In case we forgot.
In case you forgot, somewhere between 5 and 6, you get to reaffirm your vote.
And will, once again, the motion for 5 take a special,
Yes. and we
because
have
that will be
available.
Another set of handouts, same one from last week, but there's your motion.
On second reading, you do have the option. You may still reduce those numbers if that's what you choose to do. It's
can't go up.
Can't go up.
Cannot go up. Cannot go up. Okay, item numbers, I'm sorry, any more questions on the budget, the tax rate, anything included therein? Okay. Item 7, public hearing. This is the condemnation hearing. You have 3 properties before you on that condemnation. Staff would recommend that the first of those 3 properties, 8409 Interstate 40 East, the convenience store / gas station, we would recommend that that be pulled from the list.
No.
So whoever makes that motion, if they elect to.
That's me.
Yeah, you'll.
And I'll read that recommendation again when we run through the properties. That property is secure, and they have done some substantial effort. And, some of the staff's been out looking at it as recently as this morning.
Really?
I think that's the best thing to do for that. Okay, second property, 1620 South Van Buren. This is an old wood frame apartment complex. This property was previously condemned by the commission back in 2009. We did that because, as I mentioned in my memo, it changed ownership. Ultimately, the county is going to sell it at the sheriff's sale. It's not any better than what it was. It looks like it's recently been the site of some kind of a paint party where open buckets of paint were thrown from the inside out of the structure. More than that, it does have an old basement underneath it, and it's got some pretty serious structural problems to go with it. So we do need that one to stay on and for you to consider ordering one. Second one is the third one, 2003 Southwest 7th Avenue. This is also an old apartment complex. If you haven't had a chance to see that, if you think of the old St. Anthony's Hospital, it's just south of that, the old Northwest Hospital. It's just south of that, kind of up against the Line Avenue overpass over the old railroad. Bad shape. And that property has delinquent taxes, owes us for some cleanup money. But, it is absolutely not a benefit to that neighborhood. The consent agenda, first item, housing rehabilitation contract. This is one of those programs that we have funded by HUD, Housing and Urban Development. Grant monies that the city has. We have two programs. We have the owner-occupied and we have the renter-occupied program where we can go in and do some rehabilitation efforts on a home. The one brought to you today is for the property of 1007 Ricks. Because it is $52,000 worth of repairs to that home, the affordability for the ownership period is 15 years. They have to stay in that property for 15 years or refund this money back on a pro rata basis. And true, this is probably a program we'd like to use more than we do, both this one and the renter program. I think the last one we did, if y'all remember, there was a duplex that was converted into a 5-bedroom to get it on the river rolls. Just you need to see people take advantage of it. Also lets folks stay in their homes that otherwise wouldn't.
City's been in it for a long time, doing rehabs. Long time.
Do that so they won't flip the house?
Same thing with the home buyer programs. If we do like down payment assistance or something to that effect, it keeps them from getting in a property with little or no money down, taking a flip on it. Item B, our Texas State Library and Archives Commission grants, 3 of them. You see that that's been a reduction of 55% from the current year. The interlibrary loan program will be able to continue, but we're doing that by transferring what was a funded position through the grant into an existing position that's funded within the general fund budget. So as we went through our budgets this year, our Volume 1 budgets, we didn't see a significant change in the library's general fund budget. Those are all in the Volume 2 grant budgets. And I don't think that these programs will come back. And it's a shame, but we'll make the ILL work. Of course, people will pay that $3 fee that you saw in the newspaper today. The TANG grant, Technical Assistance Negotiated Grant, that's been used not only here but throughout the region. Of course, all of this ties with what we do for Harrington Library Consortium, and they're just a huge player, and they'll continue to step up and help. These monies are pretty much gone. To give Amarillo a little pat on the back, in 8 and 9, when it got really bad, a lot of cities helped balance their budgets, either closing libraries or reducing library hours, and we didn't, and we in fact ended up where we can open all 5 of our libraries at almost all the time. So we're very pleased with that.
Vicki, this is one of your areas that you're responsible for.
Yes.
There's a lot of potential benefits to be gained at lower cost with digitalization and some of those processes as they progress, are there not? I mean, I would think everybody else is enjoying benefits from technology. If this comes to bear on this system, do you think we'll be able to provide more for those?
We do.
Yeah.
We're expanding our e-book market. are the portal for a significant number of online resources that require some paid membership. And of course, the library pays that, and then it's available to the patrons. Online tutoring, probably not the most used in terms of numbers, but the most used in terms of percentages that we have with computer literacy labs that are run out of all of the libraries. And out of the 2.5 million transactions we do each year, what percentage now is either a digital or online? It's a pretty high percentage.
Yeah,
Which, if y'all like, we can get Ms. Littlejohn over here in the next few weeks.
I think it would be something to see the system has been so admirable for so long, to see Amarillo take the lead in digital technology.
Well, and if you go into any of the libraries, the computer areas are always filled because people are looking for jobs or doing resumes, or people who don't have access to electronic equipment in their homes, and so they're providing a very valuable service to all the community.
Free.
I think it's awesome.
Between Amarillo Public and Harrington, that ultimately became the model that the state used in the other areas across. Of course, Harrington's in great shape, and Amarillo Public's in good shape. Just losing the state part of that money. But we could do that. We could either do the tour, or we could have Donna and Amanda come over here and kind of walk us through some of that stuff. It's
Can you download books as part of the interlibrary loan? Or are we there yet?
I don't know who the portal is for the ebooks, but we loan ebooks over the website. And they 2 weeks.
That's
In
usually
2 weeks,
the-
they disappear from your
Yeah, you better
your
read
device.
It's not like a Kindle which stays forever.
Mm-hmm.
I've done them before though.
Can you re-up?
Wait, I want it.
I don't know if you can re-up, but
Last chapter.
Yeah,
Sure.
you have to read them.
it sure cuts down on overdues, and it cuts down on missing volumes,
Yep.
and ultimately collections. We do have a collections contract. Certainly, we'd love to have the fees, and Frigo would shoot me if I didn't say that. But more than getting the money back out of them, we want the darn book back.
Yeah.
So the more we move into that world.
I listen to books on tape. I always have one from my library. I need my car. Yeah.
I'll never drive long enough to listen to one. It'd be like
Does it have the same effect when you listen to it driving in the car as it does me when I read at night? Go to
So we did have some abuse with the interlibrary loan that they would, it was really designed for material that's out of print and hard to get, but we had some patrons, because it was free, they'd want the book out of the central library delivered to the southwest library so they could come get it. So the $3 fee, I think, is really going to cut down on that kind of stuff.
Dean is also a library expert. Are you still the second? What's your position?
Actually, I'm chair of that consortium.
Chair of the Harrington. You changed.
Oh, I did not know that. Wow.
Another one of these hours.
Sorry.
What did it
For the
say?
next 14 hours, he's chairman?
Now where the libraries have free Wi-Fi.
Which is slow, by the way.
It's what?
It's very slow.
But it's free.
And
we also another
speed it up.
We did recently look at what they called a virtual collection, and it was a tremendous amount of electronic material you could get, and we could make available online. We're still kind of kicking that around. But it's compared to print material, it's real cheap.
That's good.
And DVDs are a big deal.
Yeah, the DVDs.
In fact, we've had to change security protocols at some of the libraries because of the DVDs. Yeah, if you don't watch them, people learn to climb out of the shelf and walk all by themselves.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that would be nice to have something with the library, at the library, or whatever. I'd rather go to the library than have them come here.
We'll set one up for you. See what I do.
Well, you probably have.
We could do a library tour and hit them all.
Additions, but
I served on their advisory board for a little while when they were trying to do these changes. So.
Okay, moving into one not quite as exciting, pipe clamps. Annual contract, don't know what to say.
That's a lot of clamps.
I have once again successfully not used the word appurtenances in the description, so I'd like some credit for that. Commissioner Green's the one told me to quit doing that, so.
What is that? I've got to be able to understand it. Okay.
And then item D, dedication acceptance, water line easement and sewer line easement. Also not the most exciting items. At that point, Mayor, if you would like, we do have some closed session items that we could go over with you.
I would encourage you to describe these properties to use the term attractive.
Attractive nuisance? That's easy.
Attractive.
Well, then where are you tearing them down?
Yes, I think we need to have a Oh, Marcus doesn't like that term, though.
That's a legal term. It's a term of
Attractive
art.
nuisance.
It's an illegal term.
Okay.
Property law, second semester. City Commission now called a closed session to attend the following session introductions of the Means Act. First, economic development, discussion, information, existing business, and prospects.